are you gonna find that now?
Yeah, bloopers, super dupers.
Super duper blooper. Oh, look at that.
Hold that. As far as today's episode, we will be doing some maintenance on the RAV4. I put some bullet points there on the board. There is the very bottom one. I don't think I'll be recording it unless you guys want me to. It is a little more advanced for most, but again, I have no doubt that you guys too at home can get this accomplished without any problems. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is the Vikings Garage. And today we're going to go ahead and do some basic maintenance on the RAV4 now that it has reached 90,000 miles. First and foremost, let me show you guys the accurate mileage that we will be performing all this service in. Again, it is not 90, close enough. But it is 5 years old now, so I felt like it was very deserving to give it some maintenance. As far as the oil change, for those interested, I'll leave the link in the description down below. I've made an entire video on this. And yes, I'm using the same oil because I had bought an entire case back then. But these are the part numbers that are important here. You always want to replace your crush washer on your drain plug. And you're not going to need much more than a 14. This type of wrench, again, all in the description down below, and a few 10mm screws are holding that protective pan on the bottom. Do stay tuned, because this is what we'll be tackling. We're going to go ahead and replace the spark plugs and your drive belt. Again, unless you guys want me to do it, this is the PCV valve for this vehicle. It is an interesting one nonetheless, but it is a bit elaborate. But if you do want to see this nonetheless, please let me know in the comments down below. Now that we've gotten the oil change out of the way, let me show you guys what's next. I'm going to clean this throttle body for the third time because I clean it every 30,000 miles. And also, most importantly, for the first time, we're going to go ahead and clean your mass flow, which is this guy right there. So let me show you guys how I do this. This particular one is a specific design. So again, you got this entrance and you got that one. I feel like this one will aim directly better. And you just, and again, upside down, do this a couple times. And you should be able to, yeah, it's really, this is the best one to get the angle in there. Shake it up, and just leave it to the side, drying up a little bit, and that should be all. As far as that throttle body, guys, I personally like to give myself some space. I removed this guy. There's only two 10mm bolts holding it. Take your intake box out, and yeah, as you can see, there's plenty of space now. And not to mention YouTube things here. Obviously, want to give you guys a good visual, and I grabbed myself a white rag so that you guys can see how dirty they can actually get. Now, keep in mind, this is on this vehicle 30,000 miles only, as I do this every 30,000. Check it out. Now again, I like to use the specific product for the job in hand, and you should too. Spray it on the rag, and then what you do is, yes, somebody in the comment section is going to say you can totally take the throttle body and do this properly. I'm being a little lazy. You do as you wish. But at the end of the day, this is what you're going to encounter. This is what we're trying to remove. Repeat the process also on the top section by holding the bottom and cleaning the top. And of course, the plate itself also has plenty of carbon buildup. Now, this one is a terrible example, as I keep this thing pretty clean. Okay, another thing I like to do, guys, is every 30,000 miles, I like to check the condition of some of these fluids. Most importantly, in this particular case, the brake fluid. And you would say to yourself, well, how do I check it? Visually, you can look at the fluid and you can see the color. The brake fluid is usually a very translucent, bright, almost clear yellow in color. When they start getting a little green, that's a clear indication that your seals are starting to break down, hence the color. But we have this product here that it helps you check the condition of the fluid, and it tells you where the pH level is, because one of the worst enemies of your brake fluid is moisture. So by inserting it in there, it tells you. Now this fluid is not bad, but by showing me one yellow light already, I'm gonna go ahead and just flush it next opportunity I get. And just for the record, this fluid is original to the vehicle, so it does have 90,000 miles. 90,000 miles is more or less when you should be flushing it. Okay, next task in hand is spark plugs. Now this can, and you guys don't have to turn it into a controversial topic, but it can be controversial because it depends who you ask. They'll tell you different intervals in which you should replace these. Now, you guys give you a real quick one. These plugs are iridium. That being said, this is not like your old school plug that you would have to replace 30, 60,000 miles. These things actually last a lot longer than that. Lots of traffic in the background, can't you tell? That being said, it's a 110,000 mile interval. Yes, this vehicle has, let's call it 90,000. I'm also making a video here for you guys, but I'm aware I could have got 110,000 out of these iridium plugs. For those interested, there's your part number. All this stuff, by the way, will be in your description down below. You are going to need it for. I have brought with me my magnetic spark plug socket service set. 9/16 in this particular case works perfectly fine. It is not a perfect fit. These plugs, believe it or not, will fit exactly as they should on a 14 millimeter socket. That being said, if you have a handy, I should say, little magnet and a 14 mil socket, you too can get this done, no problem. There is no need for any type of special service set. Get yourself a 14, I would say a 3/8 with an extension on it, and you too will get this done, no problem. What's the magnet for? To fish them out of the hole. I'll show you in a second what I mean. Now, by all means, I am not saying that you need to be using power tools. But being that I've loosened them up by hand first, I figure this will save us all a little bit of time. Grab yourself a magnet and just like that, fish them all out of the hole. That's, of course, for those of you that do not have a magnetic spark plug socket. Guys, when there's a will, there's a way. And just to show you guys what I'm referring to, these plugs, if that even zooms in, they are not all that bad. Boy, Mother Nature today is here with a vengeance. But 90,000 miles, I know how, and quick and easy way to see if these are, again, original. You'll see a little marking right on the tip there. That's a clear indication they've never been replaced. So let's go ahead and install these, and yes, I will come back to you guys with the correct torque spec. For this, guys, is 15 foot-pounds of torque. It is not a whole lot needed, so don't get carried away. No impact wrenches on this one. So 15 shouldn't be a whole lot. You could probably use a shorter extension than me, because as you guys know, that will affect the torque spec, so you want to use something a little shorter. I just pretty much am doing this on camera so that you guys can see exactly step by step how I'm doing this, but it's fairly easy to do. You should have absolutely no problem doing this at home whatsoever. That's it. Put the coils back, and again, I'll do one just to show you guys, there is no need to get carried away with tightening these screws. Oh, that's right. I can't say screw because then people get offended. This is a bolt, guys. It's a bolt, so be careful. Not to call it a screw on camera, but again, I'm using a power tool. That's it. That's one cylinder done. Now let's finish the rest. And I did, of course, save the best for last, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and change this drive belt. Part number in question is right there for you. Again, if you feel as if you want to save it for a little longer, be my guest. 90,000 miles, 5 years later, I think this guy has served its purpose. Now, how do you go about taking that belt out? You actually got to go right in there. If this thing ever decides to focus for us. That's the guy in question. That's a 14. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use a very useful tool from that brand, which you can find at Harbor Freight. And I got to be honest with you guys, I've been using this tool now for about 6 months, and I absolutely love it. It's so versatile, and it makes this task very easy. Now, for those of you that don't want to go ahead and buy a specific tool for the job, once again, you get a 14 in there, and whichever way you find easier for you, you can still accomplish the same thing. I would normally tell you guys to draw this up in a piece of paper, but this one is so basic, so simple, that there's absolutely no need. Just see the way it is now, and we're gonna go ahead and replace it like so. I've decided, instead of giving you guys a quick transition, I could at least show you more or less how I set up this tool. You basically want to get the leverage for you to go towards the firewall like so, therefore taking the slack off the belt. Can we get some focusing going on here, please? That's basically what you're looking to do. How do you want to go about that? That's totally up to you. Again, this tool makes for this task breeze, but if you have a long 14 wrench geared perfectly, or you want to put a 14 very shallow, that's kind of the key, socket on a long reach kind of a ratchet, then you can still get this done, no problem. But let's go ahead and get this done. And in a few moments, you have yourself a brand new installed drive belt. As always, guys, make sure it's laying in the grooves as it should. Start it up, watch it in motion, and you're good to go. Again, if you feel so inclined to get this tool, I'll leave the link in the description down below. But again, with a 14 shallow socket or wrench on this guy right there, you should have no problem getting this done. That's the exact spot where you need to grab it in order to get this tension out of this belt. And that's it for today's episode, guys. If you have any other suggestions as far as maintenance that you want to see done on either the RAV4 platform or any other platform, don't forget to drop it in the comments down below. But in the meantime, for now, I'm going to go ahead and toss this guy out, clean up this area. Going to give myself a little bit of rest while the day is still young, and play around with the kids a little bit. As always, if you found this video to be informative, don't forget to smash that like button. If you haven't done so, don't forget to subscribe. And I will catch you guys on the next one.